Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So Versa has recently launched their Versa Dividend Plus fund, I think around end of last year. And in today's content, I will actually compare this with the S&P 500. So make sure to stick right to the end of the channel. So I will be going through four things that is related to this fund. Number one, what is Versa Dividend Plus? Number two, what to look out for? Three, who is this good for? And whether I would invest in this fund. So without further ado, let's jump right into the Versa app. Now on the Versa app, to find the Versa Dividend Plus funds, just click on Add New over here and going to the Invest tab, you will see the Versa Dividend Plus right at the top. Just click on it and at this page here, you can see the fund performance, some fees involved, and also some important documents for you to take note right at the below. So these are some important things to take note, and I would suggest that everyone who invests in funds like this or ETFs to always go through to the fund fact sheet. Now I will be going through the fund fact sheet together with you guys. So let's jump right in. So when you click on the fund fact sheet, you actually download a PDF, and then this will be the PDF. So you can see that it's actually from AHAM Capital. So this is actually Afin Huang, and it has been incorporated since March 28, 2011. So it's been here quite some time, but it's just recently launched in the Versa platform. So on the fund fact sheet, some of the few things that I will always take note is actually the fees involved, right? Because we want to know, like, when you invest something, they also need to take some profit, right? The management. So there will always be a fees involved, and how much is the fees involved? So you see, right? Initially, if you invest in this fund, there will be initial sales charge of 5.5%, and then if you invest via EPF, there will be this 3%, and the annual management fee of 1.5% per annum. Now, I know that on the Versa app, I will show you guys in the screen right here. They never show all these sales charge, right, in the Versa app. So I have clarified with the Versa team through their messenger. And yes, if you invest through the Versa app, they will not charge you an initial sales charge, right? So this initial sales charge is only charged if you invest directly through Afin Huang Capital Asset Management. Just something to take note, right? For investors who invest in the Versa app, the fees involved is actually, I think, 1.58% if not mistaken. So I'll put it right here on the screen for you guys to see. Now, the second thing we want to see is the benchmark. So what are they benchmark against? So obviously, they will not be benchmarked against the S&P 500. So what they will be benchmarked against is this Bursa Malaysia Top Index and also the Asia Pacific Index. So this means the benchmark is 70% Malaysian market and 30% in the foreign market. Okay, so you can search it up on what is this benchmark about. I'll leave it to you guys. And these are some performance and the inceptions that the fund is performing. So you can see also the equities and the top holdings that they are currently holding. So this fund has a pool of stocks or shares that they have, and these are the allocation. Of course, there are more that they don't show. They just show you the top holdings. So and then comes the next question. So you guys may ask, so actually, what does this Afin Huang Dividend Plus funds invest in? It's a good practice to pull out the product highlight sheet that is also available in the app itself. So you can see that the investment strategy here. So they will be focusing minimum 70% and the NAV in equities, holds a domestic focus. We will maintain a minimum of 70% of the fund's investment in the domestic market and holds the flexibility to invest up to 30% of its investment for listed issue in the Asia Pacific region. So you see, that's the reason why they have been benchmarked against that two previous index that I'm showing you in the fund fact sheet. So if you are investing in this Versa Dividend Plus funds, meaning you will be investing 70% of your money into the domestic market and 30% into the Asia Pacific region. Okay? So these are some things to take note if you really want to invest in these markets. Okay, so whenever we do an investment, we must know that whether these are the market that we want to be involved in. So yeah, this is the key product features. So on the below, you can see the asset allocation. They can, these are the range of the asset allocation, whether you are okay with it. Okay, they will let you know. And I will go down to another important point is also the fund performance. Okay, so these are the fund performance. Now, for me personally, whether I want to know whether this is a good performance or a performance that I can accept. So I always like to compare it with the S&P 500 and then also take into consideration of the EPF, like whether it's better than the EPF or whether it's better than the US market, which is the S&P 500. Okay, so I'll pull up the S&P 500 screen shortly, and then we can compare side by side to see whether, is this fund better than the S&P 500. So on the screen right here, on the left is the Versa Dividend Plus funds, and on the right is the S&P 500 fund. So don't worry, I'll go through together with you. Okay, we can see that, okay, this is actually the average total return, right, for the Versa Dividend Plus. So it actually takes into consideration of the income as well, the income distribution. That means the dividends that they provided you, so they will take into consideration as well. So we want to see the total returns, right? Okay, you can see that on the fund here, this fund, let's take 5 years return is 7.71%. Here, 5 years for the S&P 500, it's 14.83%. So this actually is one of the S&P 500 ETF fund fact sheet as well that I'm invested in. So that's why I'm pulling up this to let you guys know. So you see the S&P 500, it's returning 14.83% in the 5 years annualized returns, whereas here is only 7.71%. Since inception, it's 13.91%, and since inception is 7.91%. Okay, so of course, definitely the S&P 500 is higher compared to the Versa Dividend Plus funds. Now, however, we know the saying that high risk means high returns, right? So definitely investing in the US market, the S&P 500 is higher risk. Therefore, they are providing you with higher returns. So let me show you where is the risk involved. Now, looking at the years here, right? You can see 2024, 2023, 2022. This is the yearly annual returns. So let's look at year 2022. Okay, so this is the bad year for the market, right? When you invest in any investment, right, there's always ups and downs. There will be ups and downs during the year, so we have to expect some downturn in the markets as well. So in 2022, it was a downturn of about 18.35, 18.5% in the S&P 500. But look at this fund for the Versa Dividend Plus. It's only down by 11.93%. So meaning it's significantly lower compared to the S&P 500 because this is lower risk. This is higher risk. Higher risk provide you higher returns, but also when you lose money, it will be higher as well. Okay, so yeah, when you lose money, you lose less as well. Okay, but 2021, you see, is a good year. It earns more than the Versa Dividend Plus. So we can also go through some of the negative returns here. Like 2018, you see here is negative 4.72%. But on the fund here on 2018, the Versa Dividend Plus, it still returns a positive return. So you see, depending on your risk appetite, different investors has different goals and we have different time frame. So you have to pick which is better for you. Now, I would prefer to invest in the S&P 500 due to my risk appetite and my time frame is longer. So conclusion is I will actually not invest in Versa Dividend Plus, but I will invest more towards the S&P 500 market. Of course, I know the risk involved. Therefore, I need to let time to be in my side and be in the market for a longer period in order to see more returns. So that is personally for me. For you, you might be different if you have a shorter time frame or you have a lower risk appetite. Also, one of the reasons why am I able to be higher risk compared to some of you all is because I have a pool of emergency fund. I have more than 6 months of emergency fund parked in high yield savings account. I would call it a high yield savings account. Yeah, I use platforms such as Versa and KDI Save to park my emergency funds. Of course, I know like the correct term is not a high yield savings account, but they are actually a money market fund, right? So I parked into these platforms as I believe they are quite liquid. Of course, I do also have GX Bank and Touch and Go e-wallet, which are even more liquid than some of these money market funds. So I do park some money there as well, like maybe probably 1 to 2 months of my expenses into this platform as well. If I really need money urgently, so this will be the first thing to go through. So you see, liquidity also I have rankings, which is GX Bank. They are actually banks and they have a quite fast withdrawal rate. In terms of liquidity, I will park there. But in terms of slightly higher returns, I will go to KDI Save or Versa Cash. But if I really want for my investment to generate even higher returns, that's where I will invest into the S&P 500 market. So that is personally for me. And also I do have stocks involved as well. So for you might be different, your situation, your risk appetite might be different, the time frame might be different. Just to take note on that as well. So For those of you who are interested in my investment portfolio, make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave down in the comment section below if you have any questions. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.